Hello and a very warm welcome to my dearest students in today's class. I come back to you with the fresh news from the oven, from the perspective of your UPSC 2024, and I will teach you how to apply the basic information as well as the current information that you have in your examination. Of course, there is no way in how we can know that what kind of questions are going to come, but we can definitely know that these are the MCQs which will develop your concept clarity. All right. So these many important issues we will cover today. First, consider the following statements. Amrit Dharohar will emphasize on the importance of wetlands and their preservation and will be implemented over the next 3 years. So certain keywords we have to keep in mind. Some students do that. They just read a little bit of the sentence and they think that this is correct or wrong. Read the entire sentence, then only move forward. MISHTI is a program that will facilitate mangrove plantation along India's coastline and on salt panlands where mangroves were existing, but because of too much presence of salt in the soil, they do not have them right now. So we have to understand two things from here: keywords and reading the entire sentence. If you're going to in any sort of nervousness, if you're just going to read the little bit of the sentence, you will land in a wrong place. So you have to understand these two things. The correct answer to this will be both of them. Why? Because yes, Amrit Dharohar will emphasize on the importance of wetlands. Wetlands are areas where soil is covered with water, which could be permanent or temporary in nature, and it supports a lot of biodiversity, carbon sequestration, maintains the ecosystem of that area, and their preservation, and it will be implemented over the next 3 years. It could be given in your prelims that it is for 5 years, 8 years, but remember it is for the next 3 years. And MISHTI is a program that will facilitate mangrove plantation not only on along the India's coastline but also on salt panlands. Both are correct. Option C will be the correct answer. This is how you will do these sort of particular questions. Now, World Environment Day 2023 has been celebrated and the emphasis is on or was on mission life. Mission life means lifestyle for environment. To ensure as an individual, we must think that our small actions in order to reduce the plastic waste, our own plastic waste, can go a long way. For example, you can use bamboo toothbrush, some sort of initiative you can take from your side, that you carry your own straws and not use the plastic straws. These kind of small initiatives on an individual basis helps a lot. So we have to ensure that we do not use anything in a destructive manner. It should be in a sustainable manner. So Mission Life was launched in 2021 at the COP26 Summit, Conference of Parties 26 at Glasgow. It could be asked in your preliminary examination, although I do provide you the PDF through my Telegram channel, that is Pooja Dwivedi StudyIQ UPSC, but there are going to be certain information which you will get when you attend the class, because it's not just reading, you will never read them. But if you look at the PDF after attending the class, you will start relating how you are going to tackle any question. So at this point only, Amrit Dharohar and MISHTI initiatives were launched, and that is why we ask you this question. MISHTI stands for Mangrove Initiative for Shoreline Habitat and Tangible Incomes. It will facilitate mangrove plantation along the Indian coastline plus salt panlands, and it will be operational through the convergence of Manrega, Kampa and also other sources. We have to do in a very afforestation on a war footing here, and that will be helped through that will be initiated through the help of community as well. Now India has such forests, mangrove forest, in eastern and western coasts of India, as well as the largest mangrove in the world. They are situated in West Bengal. So when it comes to which states or union territories have the largest area of coverage when it comes to mangroves, West Bengal with Sundarbans stands first, then we have Gujarat, and after that we have the union territory of Andaman and Nicobar. Now, why are mangroves important? Because whenever a cyclone occurs, they are the first line of defense. They break the destructive forces of the cyclone. That happened in the case of Amphan. when the West Bengal's mangroves, the Sundarbans, took care of the population, the village, and the village, they were preserved by these mangroves. If mangroves do not exist, villages, the houses in village will be the first line of defense and they will get destructed. They prevent flooding because they hold the soil and soil absorbs water. They act as a buffer for cyclones, as I already told you. This is also an excellent carbon sink. That means the carbon that should be, if we do not have mangroves, that should have been in the atmosphere, the carbons. If we have mangroves, they will sequester it, and they have 4 times more carbon, sequestering carbon abilities than other tropical rainforest. And we also found out through the Indian State of Forest Report, ISFR of 2021, which is the latest report. Another one will come soon. The mangrove cover is 4,992 square kilometers. Alright, so these could be asked in your examination. So remember, be updated. I will keep you updated like this only. Now, before we move on, I would like to tell you we are launching our live batch, Prelims 2 interview. This will be in a live manner. You will not get recorded classes. You will get live classes so that we can interact. It's like an offline class only. So it is starting from the 19th of June at 6 p.m. You will have to do one thing. This course is for prelims, mains as well as interview. I have already covered it in today's section. What do we actually provide you in this particular course? Do watch it. If you want to take admission, you can apply my code, that is PD Live, because this course, along with the books, along with mentorship, not only for prelims, mains, but also interview, along with mains residential program, is this much. But if you get this particular code copied, you will get a discount and then you will avail it at 29,999. Alright, so let's move forward and talk about Amrit Dharohar. Amrit Dharohar is a program where we will encourage the optimal use of wetlands, and this will be implemented for the next 3 years because wetlands are important to enhance the biodiversity. It's a small region where a lot of biodiverse sort of organisms exist and they maintain the equilibrium in the area. They are also carbon stock. That means they sequester carbon. They also have ecotourism opportunities. Who doesn't like a beautiful lake? And also, the people who are dependent on such wetlands, they also get income generation. So why does it really matter? See, as of yet, we have 75 Ramsar sites. In 2014, these were just 26, and they right now cover this much hectares. So it's a huge land. Now, Ramsar sites are wetlands of international importance. That means these wetlands are important for the entire globe, and it is important that we preserve. The country in which it is present preserves it. Ramsar Convention of Wetlands was signed in 1971 at the Iranian city of Ramsar to conserve biological diversity along with flora and fauna, from endangered aquatic life to migratory birds, because there are many migratory birds who migrate to wetlands to relieve themselves. Now, this is the map which shows us the wetlands. You can find it on the NWIS website, that is the official website. But you see, the number of Ramsar sites have been increasing in the list. As of 2022, 19 sites were added in the earlier existing list. Moving ahead, Tamil Nadu has the largest number of Ramsar wetland, and then we have Uttar Pradesh. Remember that these could be asked in your preliminary examination. Now, this question is with respect to the upcoming cyclone Biparjoy. Consider the following statements with respect to tropical cyclones, because this occurs in the tropic. The Indian subcontinent is very prone to tropical cyclones. We are going to ask that. High sea temperatures, at least 35 degrees Celsius, winds that vary greatly with height, sufficient distance from the equator for a spin, such as the Coriolis force to take effect. Which of the above mentioned conditions are necessary for the formation of tropical cyclones? Okay, so here two things will matter: concept clarity and of course the facts. So we have to know whenever cyclones occur or develop in the tropics, these are generally in the areas which are heated. Low pressure is created and that creates atmospheric disturbances. So first of all, high seas temperature should be high, but not so high. It is just like 27 degrees Celsius. So the first condition is not at all correct. Winds that vary greatly with height, Supposedly, a cyclone is forming. Two masses of air are converging. If there are going to be winds, what will happen? These air masses will be swiped away, right? They will be swiped away completely from that area. So we do not want a lot of wind that will vary greatly with height. They should not vary greatly. Then only these air masses will converge very beautifully. And then sufficient distance from the equator for a spin such as the Coriolis force to take effect. That is definitely correct. Because at the tropics, we have to understand that the Coriolis force is almost absent. Like it's very little. And if there is a proper distance from the equator, then there will be a Coriolis force that will drive the entire cyclone. So first and second are incorrect, but third is correct. One statement only will be the correct answer. Depression over Arabian Sea is forming and it might intensify into a cyclone. This cyclone is in Southeast Arabian Sea, and this might become a problem for a lot of the coastal states. We are still getting a lot of information about its development. It is still intensifying. So if it intensifies, which it will be named as Biparjoy, which has been given, this name has been given by Bangladesh, and each tropical cyclone is named to avoid confusion, to have better communication, and also it should not be a controversial name. 13 countries in the Indian Ocean region get a chance to name the cyclones. See, there are 6 regional specialized meteorological stations or centers and 5 tropical cyclone warning regions or centers. So IMD is one of the RSMCs. So we get a chance to name the cyclones. There are 13 member countries who can do so. We have Bangladesh, India, Oman, Iran, Maldives, Pakistan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Sri Lanka, Thailand, United Arab Emirates, as well as Yemen. Please learn this. This is not fact. But of course, if you know what are the literal countries, you can understand this and you can answer if ever it is asked. Cyclones, these are caused by atmospheric disturbances which forms around a low pressure area. That means heat is there. That is why low pressure area is forming. And it is distinguished by swift and often destructive air circulation. It's not a generic thunderstorm. These are usually accompanied by violent storms and bad weather, and air circulates inwards. Sometimes prelims can trick you and say air circulates outwards. No, it is going inwards. And in the northern hemisphere, it goes inwards in the anti-clockwise direction. In the southern hemisphere, it goes in the clockwise direction. So remember all these intricacies. These are classified into extratropical cyclones that are happening outside the tropics and tropical cyclones. Okay. Why is it named cyclone? Because it comes from a Greek word, cyclos. Cyclos actually means like a coiled serpent. So when Henry Paddington saw this cyclone, tropical cyclone in the Indian Ocean, he said that it is like a coil of a snake. So that is why it was named cyclone. So the World Meteorological Organization in 1976 used the word tropical cyclone. This was used to talk about the weather systems in which wind is exceeding the gale force. Gale force is a minimum of 34 knots or 63 kph. Okay. Now there are several conditions that are needed for the formation of the cyclone. First, of course, high sea's temperature at least 27 degrees Celsius. Converging winds near the ocean surface which forces the air to rise. Alright. And of course, form storm clouds. So storm clouds are formed when two converging winds, they rise upward. And we need winds that do not vary greatly. So this is low wind shear. We need low wind shear. And of course, sufficient distance from the equator so that Coriolis force can drive the entire system. The Financial Inclusion Dashboard, which was recently launched by the RBI, is named Sarvajan, Antardrishti, Dhanvriddhi, Sampannajan. The correct answer is Antardrishti. I'm so sorry for this. It is option B. Alright. Antardrishti. Let's move ahead and talk about Antardrishti. RBI governor has launched this financial inclusion dashboard in order to look at what is the rate of financial inclusion based on pertinent data. But it is right now available only for the internal use of RBI. They will also see what areas are excluded or what communities are excluded in order to ensure deeper penetration of financial services. Next, consider the following statements. Statement 1. Cooperatives are a part of the concurrent list in the 7th schedule of the Indian Constitution. Statement 2. The Ministry of Cooperation was established to bring complete uniformity and one rule for all the cooperatives. So these are the codes where we have to choose the correct answer from. See, cooperatives are actually a part of the state list and not concurrent list. Okay, in the 7th schedule we have the list. So these rest or remaining sentences are also important. It could have been given 8th schedule and state list. So be very mindful how UPSC works. So cooperatives are a part of the state list, not concurrent list. That means state has a jurisdiction over cooperatives, but there are multi-cooperative societies as well. The highest number of them are in Maharashtra. They work cross states. So for them, there is a different act. See, statement 1 is incorrect. Statement 2 is also actually not correct, because Ministry of Cooperation came into being in order to ensure that ease of business takes place. No uniformity is there, because every cooperative society, as it grassroots level society, that means it wants to have its own flexibility. So both the statements actually are incorrect. All right. Moving ahead, if we talk about why have I asked you this question, because a new policy is awaited on the cooperative society. Now, separate Ministry of Cooperation was created in 2021 in order to ensure Sahakar se Samriddhi, more ease of doing business initiative. Also, why is it there? In order to ensure that political control is not too much, the local political control is not too much on these cooperative societies. Cooperative societies also became a part of the Constitution of India with the help of 97th Amendment Act. 97th Amendment Act. It added one part, that is Part 9B to the Constitution. Also, in order to ensure that the Article 19 is upheld, freedom of association, freedom to form cooperatives. Article 43B, where should I write here? Article 43B was also added in order to ensure that cooperatives are promoted as directive principle of state policy. So I hope you understood all this. Moving ahead to the next set of questions. See, which of the following OPEC countries lie completely to the south of equator? Two things you have to know over here. Countries which roughly, this rough idea you should have, which countries lie to the south of the equator among these countries. Another thing you have to know over here is which are the OPEC countries. So Venezuela, Gabon, Zambia and Angola are the given options. Venezuela, Gabon and Angola are OPEC countries, but not Zambia. And Venezuela lies on the north of South America, so it's not to the south of equator. Gabon, from here the equator passes. It doesn't lie completely to the south of equator. The correct answer will be Angola in Africa. Okay, so Saudi Arabia is going to cut oil output by 1 million barrels a day in July, so that the supply and demand gap is not enlarged. And what is OPEC and OPEC plus? OPEC was established by the founding members Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Venezuela as well as Kuwait in 1960 in Baghdad. Okay, in Baghdad. Now since then it has gained a lot of importance. Now it has many other countries. 13 member countries are there. Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Algeria, Libya, Nigeria, Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, Republic of Congo, Angola and Venezuela. It could also be asked in your preliminary examination how many countries from Africa are a part of OPEC. So you have to keep all this in mind. And this is the map that you will get in the PDF. It is just for reference. Alright, now if we talk about which countries are south, let's see that map also. So if we go to the world map, you will find that here is Angola, which is lying entirely to the south of the equator. Here is Gabon, from which the equator is passing. As I already told you, Zambia is not a member country of the OPEC. And here is Venezuela. Alright, so I hope you understood this well. Now, other important points with respect to OPEC is that there are 11 other allied countries. They form OPEC plus and Russia is a part of it. In order to coordinate and unify the policies of these countries, the member countries, OPEC has been found. Other thing is to ensure the stabilization of oil in the market. Also to give efficient economic and regular supply of petroleum to countries so that the prices do not increase there should be a steady income to producers. It should not be produced so much that producers don't get anything. And there are also investors. So to safeguard their interest also, this is being done. The headquarters are in Vienna, Austria. OPEC membership is open to any country which has considerable amount of exports of oil. Also, the policy alignment is there with OPEC countries. Okay. Next, to the next question, if we move on. How many languages have been identified as official languages in the United Nations? 3, 4, 5, 6. The correct answer is 6. Why have I asked you this question? Because today is Russian Language Day. 2023 is being celebrated. And if we talk about the Russian language, Russian Language Day was established by the UNESCO in 2010. It aligns with the birthday of Alexander Pushkin, who is a renowned Russian poet as well as the founder of modern Russian language. And Russian is one of the 6 official languages of the organization. Others include, of course, English, Arabic, Spanish, Chinese, and French. The theme for this year is Exploring Russian Literature, Unlocking the Nation's Soul. Important Russian authors include Leo Tolstoy, Fyodor Dostoevsky, and Anton Chekhov. I'm really sorry if I did not pronounce this correctly. The Grand Order of the Chain of Yellow Star has been presented to the President of India by which of the following countries? Serbia, Suriname, Indonesia, Philippines. The correct answer is Suriname. Now, if you move on to the important facets, this is the news that I have chosen now. So, President Draupadi Murmu has got this very important symbol, and this is the Grand Order of the Chain of the Yellow Star from Suriname. There are about 540,000 inhabitants in Suriname, and about 27% of them are of Indian origin, even the president of Suriname. Okay. The first sailing ship that took the indentured laborers from India to Suriname, it reached in 1873. Now they are a very significant population in Suriname. Many people from the Bhojpuri region used to get taken by the name. This region was of Sri Ram Tapu. Many were kidnapped also. So they, reached there as indentured labor. Remember that. So trade and agriculture is the main occupation of Indians in Suriname. There are other occupations for them as well, such as doctors, lawyers, teachers, and employed in the service sector as well. If you want to get the PDF of this, you can join my channel in Telegram, that is Pooja Dwivedi StudyIQ. Thank you so much for watching.